I've helped dozens of guys eat more food and lose more body fat by manipulating their metabolism through science. My name's Adam Bono. I'm an online fat loss professional specialized in hormonal priming, body recomposition, higher level forms of nutrition. I've helped dozens of men break through fat loss plateaus, eat more food, and eat thousands of more calories a day and lose weight. And I've successfully done over 1,500 nutrition consultations over my course of time. So in this video, I'm going to explain the key main factors to help you improve your metabolism and some key factors that I put into my clients' plans to help navigate their metabolism, allowing them to eat more. So during this video, we're going to kind of explain a little bit about how your metabolism works, the three main pillars of metabolism, and certain key points that I put in my clients' programs that actually help them out and actually help them increase their metabolism by utilizing correct nutritional science. So, with that being said, one, metabolism is the foundation of all your entire health, right? And 93% of U.S. adults have suboptimal metabolism, right? So I'll start right off the bat and say that, like, a lot of guys that I come across, they think that, like, because I work with guys that are primarily like in their 30s and 50s and high level individuals who have high level jobs, who are very busy all the time, maybe stressful work environments, 12-hour days, sitting with clients all day. And what I get a lot is like my metabolism has just slowed down over time. Scientifically, that's simply just not true. There is no scientific evidence that says that your metabolism slows over time. What has actually happened over time is the food industry has become more saturated with carbohydrates and highly processed carbohydrates, and society is just less active. Like, people are just more sedentary. Like, the average human walks anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 steps, and like that's not even like the requirement given to us by the government. So, like, one, everybody's gotten less active with, basically food industries being able to, click a button and get your food transported to you. And then even like Uber services or like car driving services. And so, like, it's now like you actually have to go out and search for activity to keep your metabolic health rise, right? Your metabolism doesn't slow down over time. What happens is you become less active and you eat more shitty, in just all honesty. But like, there is a metabolic dysfunction in today's society just because the overconsumption of carbohydrates and the overconsumption of, highly processed carbohydrates. And when I say the overconsumption of carbohydrates, carbohydrates aren't bad. A lot of people think that like carbohydrates are the devil and cutting carbs out of your diet is going to be the solvent to your problems. That's not going to be the solvent to your problems. One, it's going to give you a temporary, 20-pound deficit that you lose, you just gain right back in water weight. But what you do is when you cut carbohydrates completely out of your diet and you go suboptimal in calories, one, you put your body in a state where it's more likely to gain it back, because you got to think of your body in general as a highly adaptive organism. So the less amount of food that you eat, the less amount of output your metabolism wants to use, right? So it's like very highly adaptive, and that's what it comes in the term of actual, adaptive thermogenesis or metabolic adaptation, what some people like to call it. And so, like, anytime that you eat more food after your diet, you just gain it all back, which is why in the last 5 to 10 years, you've gone on this never-ending cycle of losing 20 pounds and gaining it right back, right? There's a better way to do it, right? But it's understanding how your metabolism works and understanding how to put yourself in a better position for long-term and longevity. But carbohydrates aren't bad. Yes, if you eat like a crap ton of carbohydrates for days on end, you're going to gain fat, right? Because one, more glucose in the body, more processed glucose leads to improper use of metabolism, in even like irregular blood sugar levels and insulin resistance. So like, yes, if you are eating a crap ton of carbohydrates, your body will put excess glucose back in the form of excess energy called fat. And if you get too much fat in the form of excess energy subcutaneous, you start to get it leaking in, and that's where you start to get more visceral fat in like adipose tissue, right? Which is a whole nother subject when it comes in the form of like stress and overall liver toxicity, and stuff like that. But we don't want to get to the weeds with stuff. I want to give you guys as much humanly valued information possible so you guys can go fix your guys' metabolic issues right now and get in the best shape of your lives. But like, anyways, like, metabolism comes in like kind of three really main pillars. Like, it's going to be like mitochondria, inflammation, and oxidative stress, right? So you got to think about like your metabolism in general is taking potential energy, aka food, and turning it into usable energy, right? So that process goes through the mitochondria. So think about your body as it's like a city, right? And you, like your food, is the powerhouse. Like it's a converter or the power plant, right? So like as you start to give your body food, and the power plant starts to transport the energy throughout your whole body and throughout all your organs, you have to think about it as, like a power plant, right? And so if the power plant isn't getting enough energy to export energy to the entire organs, all the organs are going to start to diminish and the lights are going to start to dim low, which happens a lot of times when you start to go in very highly caloric deficits, right? Which we can kind of talk about caloric deficits, and yes, why in some sense they are beneficial, but you have to understand how to navigate it, right? So with that being said, like, you understand like the concept of your body being more of like a power plant and your organs being more like the city. It's kind of like this, like 60% of your entire metabolism is your basal metabolic rate, which is sleeping, blood flow, organ functions, etc. So all that energy goes through the mitochondria, right? Transporting it to usable energy. And like a lot of insolence occurs when you put your body in a state of, where the mitochondria is no longer taking in glucose. It kind of prevents the molecule from taking in glucose, kind of bounces off the molecule, and it has nowhere to put it, right? Instead, like, we don't want to put yourself. You want to actually utilize certain key factors to help your body utilize carbohydrates and be able to transport them properly for better use of energy, right? Because carbohydrates in general, what they do scientifically, if you were to look it up right now, what do carbohydrates do in your body? Quite literally, what they do is reduce oxidative stress, reduce cortisol levels, improve brain cognition, right? Because glucose is the main driving factor of how your brain uses energy, right? So even when it comes to inflammation, a lot of people like have a misunderstanding of like inflammation in general. And one that's like, let's think about it like this. If a lot of people that I come across, maybe they've been doing a bunch of cardio, they haven't been eating a lot of food, and they're under 2,000 calories, and they just kind of stuck, and no matter what they do, they really can't do, there's really nothing, you really can't do anything, right? And they've been stuck there for months. And a lot of that has to come down with, like, inflammation, because, like, carbohydrates, what they do is they reduce inflammation. If you have a lot of cellular activity in your body trying to fight off all this inflammation over here, like, how is it going to, utilize properly cellular activity to actually get to a lower body fat percentage, diminished body fat, mobilized body fat, and oxidized body fat? So you have to think about all these actions in your body and cellular activity in your body having some certain type of function. So you need to understand like the reduction of inflammation, and a reduction of inflammation comes with understanding good recovery, understanding good sleep, understanding good, water intake, even like understanding like good nutrition and exactly what you need to eat, like protein, carbs wise, and fat, so you don't gain weight, don't gain fat, you don't gain, excess adipose tissue or subcutaneous fat with overconsumption of carbohydrates, but you get enough to reduce inflammation, you get enough to reduce a lot of oxidative stress as well. So overall, like, knowing all this information, how do you take all this information, all this science, and kind of utilize into my clients' programs and putting them in the spot where they're quite literally eating thousands of more calories and they're dropping weight, right? Well, like, first of all, I always implement them all their plan specific scenarios for what they're currently going through and what they kind of need protein, carbs, and fats specific to their height, weight, age. I have a client named Michael who is 50 years old, and he is down 30 pounds, eating quite literally 1,000 more calories. He came to me under eating 2,000 calories. I think it was like 250 pounds. And now he's 220 pounds and he's eating 3,000 calories. Like, the statistics are there. What I do actually works, right? And time and time again, there's case study after case study after case study after case study on my YouTube channel. You're more than likely to go check out. But like, let's take Mike, for example. Like, what exactly did I implement into his program that allowed him to lose 30 pounds eating 1,000 more calories, right? One is that the first thing I did for him is I gave him a good training program and certain steps to hit per day, right? So understanding the cardio zones and how the cardio zones really work, you understand like one, glucose disposal, but also making sure we're reactive well with overall stable blood sugar levels as well. Like for certain steps per day, I would starting them out at 8K steps per day. We slowly working them up to 10K steps. I think he's doing 10K steps a day right now. But we paired them with the actual strength training program, right? The benefits of a strength training program and pairing that with like steps in general is it comes in the forms of understanding cardio zones and exactly what type, like what certain heart rate that you are at in a certain cardio zone depicts on what type of substrates that your body actually uses, and like even like I said, getting a good glucose disposal and hyper mitochondrial function with that as well. So like steps, for instance, is a form of low intensity cardio that's non-inflammatory, that helps with, one, decreasing actual fat, right? So the science behind low-intensity cardio, like Zone 1 and Zone 2, that it utilizes 40% more fat substrates of fat, 40% more substrates of actual fat, right? So the higher intensity cardio you get, the more that, one, you utilize more substrates of carbohydrates with a good glucose disposal, not getting too much carbohydrates put back in the form of, adipose tissue or subcutaneous fat, but also hyper-focusing on growing lean muscle tissue, because carbohydrates, what they do is they are the energy transport system. They allow for good workouts, recovery from workouts, and building good muscular tissue, right? And so like building good muscle tissue comes in the form of understanding fats, protein, carbs, and fats, and understanding what you exactly need in the form of protein, carbs, and fats in a well-rounded diet, right? And it's not just one certain piece that made the significant change. It wasn't just carbohydrates, it wasn't just fat, it wasn't just protein. It was all three together that allowed him to, one, utilize mitochondrial function, reduce inflammation with, yes, the correct amount of carbohydrates, but actually build good lean muscle tissue with getting enough protein and lowering the fats to improve blood sugar and improve hormonal levels like testosterone, T3, T4, and thyroid, as well. But all these factors at play, that these are the factors that are, going to be most beneficial with increasing the client's plan, because you're, one, increasing muscle tissue in general is going to increase a little bit of actual, your metabolism, right? Because having more muscle tissue means that you have a higher, metabolic rate, because muscle tissue is like highly metabolic, right? It takes a lot of calories to sustain that muscle tissue, right? And then as you start to get up in calories a little bit very slowly, other things start to increase, like your thermic effect of food, right? How much, actual calories it takes your body to burn down the food. Like protein is 30% thermic effect. Fat is like a zero, doesn't really mean shit. And then carbohydrates is, about a 10%. So eating more food, you now are burning more food because you are eating more food. But even, like non-energy activity thermogenesis, which means how much calories your body is burning just like walking around, sitting and doing nothing, that increases as well as you start to eat more calories, right? And so think about it like eating 2,000 calories and burning 2,000 calories, but eating 3,000 calories and burning 3,000 calories, right? A lot of people will come to me and say, hey, that's the exact same thing. Like I'm burning 3,000 calories and intaking 3,000 calories. Well, you have the, you have the thermic effect of food, which is kind of like a staple on top of that, but you also have the overall non-energy activity thermogenesis, which also goes up because your body's getting enough energy to the powerhouse to supply the whole city and then some. And so now, you're burning more food just sitting stable, right? And so along with that, like even like proper water intake, like getting a gallon of water a day. So like the two biggest things are like the steps and the nutrition and the training. Like those are the three biggest pillars of my program. But like the biggest moving factor for my clients is being able to hit the macronutrients as closely as possible within 1 to 3 gram range, right? So we teach them specifically how to hit certain macronutrients like on the dot. And a lot of people think it's hard, which it's not really hard. Like my clients get it in like little less than a week, right? And that's why they're seeing such good progress, is because once they hit those macronutrients, there's a synergistic effect that happens with their body when you get the correct nutrition, and you get the correct nutrition to what you specifically need. So like, one, the 3 biggest pillars are like the hitting the macros perfectly, the actual strength training program that helps with the glucose disposal, but actually building the muscle tissue, and then just walking in general and getting 8 to 10K steps a day for proper blood sugar levels, just overall moving more, and then also like hyper targeting, like even like body fat, like at a 40% more higher rate than like you would like a HIIT training or even like sprint training, right? So all these like in general are what like allow my clients to eat more food, and like even certain clients that come to us and we think they maybe have like some sort of insulin resistance or unstable blood sugar levels, or maybe they even like have some sort of metabolic dysfunction where they are deficient in iodine or selenium. We implement either like a vitamin D3, which is going to be very good for vitamin D deficiency in general is really good for insulin resistance, but also reduction of inflammation. Kelp is all natural iodine, which helps with thyroid function. Selenium helps with thyroid function. But like these are only things that we give to our clients if we think we need them, because the reason why we understand if they need them or not is like when you do get the correct macronutrients, you do get what you actually need, protein, carbs, and fats, we can find out what's missing and we can implement certain things like maybe like a supplementation along the way, like a certain like ingredient or a certain like just key new like supplementation that'll help them along their ways, right? And so like those are a few of the supplements that we actually utilize in our clients' programs for that specific reason. And even like when it comes down to like certain food groups, right? Getting like fish oil pill for like good omegas, or certain clients when we go into a cut, because you guys think that like, yes, like my clients are up thousands of calories, but we do bring them back down, right? We do bring them back into a cut, and that's where like why my process is the most predictable one on the internet, because we get them to lose weight by utilizing their metabolism, and then we actually go into a structured cut. And that's how my client like Phil and like Kevin are both down like I think 90 and 100 pounds right now, right? Because we help you lose weight eating more food, and then once we utilize your metabolism to its highest advantage, we can slowly bring you back down, and it's more sustainable long term because you're not going under 2,000 calories. We're putting your body in a position where we can bring the food back down. Because imagine if like X client came to me in 2,000 calories, he's like, oh, I want to lose 100 pounds. Okay, so like we dropped the calories to 1,900 and 1,800. Now you're starving. Now you can't stick to the plan. Now you hate the plan. Now you hate me as a coach because I'm making you starve. Instead, I say like, okay, let's focus on growing muscle tissue. Let's hyper-focus on increasing your metabolism. They lose 25 to 30 pounds eating 1,000 more calories, and then we bring them back down and they lose another 30 pounds, under 50 pounds, right? And that's how my clients are down 80 to 100 pounds. That's how some of my clients, like Jake, for instance, eating 4,000 calories and is at 8% body fat. Quite literally, you guys can go check out all the transformational testimonials on the page. Like they're there, and you can like walk through, because I do give like full in-depth case studies on how exactly I do it, because my purpose of this entire channel is to teach you guys as much as possible so you can go do it yourself. But the actual implementation of what you specifically need, protein, carbs, fats, calories, then obviously that's for my paid clients, and you want to be fair to them. If I answered every single one of your guys' comments and told you guys exactly what you need to do, that's for my paid clients. But I try to give as much humanly possible value as possible on this channel, but I think that's pretty fair, right? But anyways, like all in all, like there are certain key factors within your metabolism, and understanding how your metabolism works is going to be beneficial in understanding like longevity and putting yourself in a spot where you can stay leaner for longer and not have to keep rebounding back over and over again, right? So with that being said, like if you guys do need help, there's going to be a link down below. You can sign up for an application, time to sit down with me and kind of see where you're at, where you're looking to get, and if I can help you, I will. But for that being said, you guys have a good rest of your day, and let me know what kind of videos you guys like to see next. More than happy to do all kinds of videos for you guys and just add as much value as humanly possible to this channel. I'll see you guys next time.